The core difficulty in the scientific study of consciousness lies in bridging the seemingly unbridgeable gap between subjective first-person experience and objective third-person observation. Psychologist Max Velmans designed his Changing Places thought experiment, CPTE, discussed extensively in Understanding Consciousness, not to solve this problem outright, but to demonstrate its root cause, the confusion of perspective for ontological difference. The CPTE effectively challenges the assumed objectivity of the external observer and the inherent subjectivity of the experiencer, suggesting that both are simply different views of a unified reality. The thought experiment begins with a standard setup. A subject, S, looks at a stimulus, such as a green light, and reports a sensation of green. Simultaneously, an experimenter, E, observes the physical light source, S's brain activity, the neural correlates of consciousness, or NCCs, and S's verbal report. In the traditional dualist or materialist framework, S's experience is a private internal state, while E's observation of the brain and the light is public and objective. The CPTE critiques this contrast by asking the participants to swap roles. When S and E swap, E now focuses entirely on the light, reporting a sensation of green, while S now observes E's brain activity and verbal reports. Crucially, Velmans argues that phenomenologically, nothing has changed about the essential nature of the reported experience. When E, now the subject, looks at the light, their experience of green is no more or less subjective than S's was. Likewise, S, now the experimenter, is still relying on their own phenomenal experience, the sight of E's brain activity and the sound of E's voice, to make their objective third-person claims. The CPTE forces us to confront the fact that all observation, whether of a light, a brain, or a verbal report, is ultimately a phenomenal experience mediated by an observer's brain. The third-person objective report of E's brain is merely the first-person experience of S's visual system processing the image of E's brain. Thus, the supposed contrast between the subjectivity of the experience and the objectivity of the observation of its neural correlate collapses. E's observation of S's NCCs is just E's experience, and S's experience of the light is just S's experience. Both are private, perspective-dependent phenomenal events. This leads to Velmans' reflexive monism. The experience of the green light and the observation of the NCCs are not two different things, e.g., mind substance and brain substance, but two different ways of knowing a single underlying reality. The subjective experience of the light is the way the external public light appears to the subject, from the first-person perspective, while the NCCs are how the subject's brain activity appears to an observer, from the third-person perspective. By demonstrating the functional interchangeability of the subjective and objective roles, the Changing Places thought experiment undermines the traditional distinction and promotes an intersubjective view where both perspectives are essential for a complete science of consciousness.